You said that's it. You did not cover the auto record function, and more than one person, it looks like, commented about that in the comments. So that's a comment that just came in on a video I made 6 years ago. And this is such a cool thing about technology these days. I made that video, and since then, I haven't really thought about the Tascam DR-05 other than to use it. And now 6 years later, someone comments on the video and I find out that I've been missing a firmware update. There was an update that added functionality to this, and we're doing it right now. And then we're going to look at the auto record function and how that works. So thanks to everyone who leaves comments. Let's check out this update. As usual, we can find the firmware update procedure as well as the firmware itself on the official product page on Tascam's website, and we'll go ahead and download both of those. Next, we need to connect the DR-05 to our computer using the USB mini cable, assuming you still have one. When we power it on and set it to storage mode, it will then appear as a removable drive on our computer, and we can open that and then open the utility folder you find inside. Next, we need to find the zip file we just downloaded. We can unpack it and copy the firmware file to that utility folder on the DR-05. For the next step, we need to eject the DR-05 from our computer properly and then turn the unit's power off. You should unplug the USB cable here, but I didn't, and it worked okay. Now we're going to hold the mark and previous track buttons down while we turn the unit on, and if you do that, you'll see an update screen with the new firmware to select. I'm unsure why mine shows two files, but I chose the one with the same file name that I copied from the download. At this point, the update should take about a minute, and the unit will power itself off when it's done. When you turn it on again, you'll have the new firmware and will need to reconfigure your settings again from scratch. With the update out of the way, we can look at the auto record function I now have access to. It's a pretty handy feature for all sorts of situations. The idea is simple. You set a threshold, and when the microphone picks up sound that exceeds the threshold, a recording begins. There are two modes, however, new file and marker. In the new file mode, the unit will start a recording when the threshold is exceeded, and then it'll stop the recording and go into record standby if the sound drops below that threshold again for more than 5 seconds. A great way to use this mode, or maybe the best way to use this mode, is in combination with the pre-record function. If you do that when a new track is started, it also records the preceding few seconds before the record threshold was achieved, so you don't miss the start of the event. Let's take a look at how it works in this mode. Hey, now we're recording. You see it starts, and if I stop talking... We'll talk about this auto tone feature here in a moment, but beware if you use it in conjunction with pre-record, it will record the tone over your pre-record content. So be careful with that. You can see the file continues to record here as long as we don't drop below the threshold for more than 5 seconds. Mark mode, or marker mode, conversely, is meant to be used during longer recordings. In this mode, you're recording normally until your level drops below the set threshold, again for more than 5 seconds, and then when it returns above that threshold again, the unit places a marker there so you know where a new track would be starting. Hey. The markers are stored in the recorded file and can be used and accessed by any software that is compatible with BWF or broadcast wave format type wave files. In addition to auto record, they've also added an auto tone feature that records and outputs a burst of tone at either the start or the start and end of each new file. When connected to a camera or other recorder, that burst of tone makes syncing files later much easier without needing to clap or slate the take traditionally. There have been many other small bug fixes and feature additions in the firmware revision since my first video too. They've added support for many different languages, made the tuner easier to use, and even added a reverb effect that can be used during playback or recording. They've changed the text on the screen so it's easier to read, and improved reliability during normal use and specifically in cold environments. So this question has been a great reminder for me to continue to check for updates for all of my gear. For older stuff that you've had no problems with, it's a good idea to read the release notes included with any new firmware and search online before applying the update to see if anyone is reporting issues that might affect your workflow. Sometimes it's just best not to update and to stick with the firmware that has been working for you, but I'm glad I did it for this recorder. These are some really cool features, and it's neat to have them on a piece of gear that I bought so many years ago.